You get once in a lifetime to make a bet. If you believe the system is broken, take that. Well, then this has a very good chance of working. If you believe that the equality gap needs to change, this has a good reason to work. If you believe that the third world needs to be banked and that remittances need to be cheaper and that there's a digital revolution happening in countries like India, Kenya, Nigeria, then you need to get involved. So I don't see a world where this is not going to pay off over time. And the younger you are, the bigger the bet you should have. Or the closer you are to the space. So, I had small bets and now I just think its returns is eating everything else. That will not go on ad infinitum. We will have down cycles and I will try and time that. But my guess is once I get out, I'll probably try and do VC investments or token investments from somebody who knows what they're doing. Maybe give it to somebody else to allocate because the easier part of the cycle is done. So I can't really answer the question. Kind of anybody's stupid not to have 10% of their liquidity. Not that, because everyone uses net worth. It's like, most people have a house and stuff like that. It's not liquidity. We live there. It's actually not, it's not even, it's a different thing. So the money that you would invest in your portfolio, I think even if you're pretty conservative, 10%, because then you can call me up in 2 years' time and say, Raoul, you lost me 5%. I'm like, unlucky. I don't care.
Yes. Yeah. Or the flip side.
Yeah. Or the flip side is I make you another 5x from here till the end of the year. And, I've made you 25%. Okay. 5 for 1 in a 9 month in an asset class. But I still think it goes to 1 million by the time we get to 2025. So the returns are astronomical. So, and if you're into the space, then, your mileage will vary. And I'm 100%. I mean, I cannot find any other asset worth investing. There's some great trades out there. European carbon is a great trade. I think you could probably buy the dollar. There's a bunch of stuff, but I don't care. I find it really hard to care about anything else because I've never seen anything this big in my life.
So on the, in terms of how to invest, right? Like there's all these ETFs and closed-end funds and stuff. It feels to me a little bit like you've got this new tech, like a cell phone, but you're only able to connect to talk between two cell phones by connecting them to one of those old tin can telephones. So you've got the two tin can telephones connected by a string, and there's a phone speaking into both ends. It's like this weird antiquated technology wrapping around this new tech. But notwithstanding that, do you still think that's a viable place for people to start? Maybe.
Well, we haven't actually got great vehicles. There is an ETF in Canada. It's a bit patchy. Now, it always makes me laugh. Like, one of my favorite bets in emerging markets is Iran. And everyone looks at me and goes, well, where's the ETF? I'm like, the point is there is no ETF. The harder it is, the better the returns. And it's the same with the crypto space. Actually, people are making it easier so we can all be dumb money. And I talked about, some of those funds like Bitwise, anybody can invest in that. That's pretty straightforward. There's the Grayscale Trust that trades. It used to trade at a huge premium. Now it's a slight discount. There will be an ETF that comes. There's a futures contract. Or you can just get up to speed and buy Bitcoin. Because this is not the old world. This is the new world. And the moment you do it, you realize how different it all is. Mm-hmm. Then you realize the speed of which you can pay somebody. Yeah. The speed of which the system settles, how you are your own bank, how you can get your own yield outside of the banking system. And then you start going, I get it. This is a whole different world.
Right. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I think that, I don't know. I just see the coin inventory coming off of the exchanges. And all of the miners are now hodlers, and the potential for some ETF to come in the US at exactly the wrong time, where there literally are not enough coins, and driven by insensitive buying, money flowing directly to an ETF that must track that index. I mean, there's a setup here that looks insanely bullish.
Yes, and I've noted that too, and I've called it the wall of money.
Right.
There is no supply. The only supply actually in the market, to be truthful, is there's a couple of the big funds that rebalance at month end and quarter end, because that's what institutions do, and that's new for the space. And basically, it's the day traders being stopped out or being, cleared out of inventory because there's no actual supply. And you're putting these elephants into the bathtub like BlackRock. I mean, there's no room for them all. And then you add an ETF, there is no room. So I think there is the risk that we get. There is a risk, and I don't know what the probability is, but it's higher than most people expect, that we don't stop at kind of 200,000 on this cycle or 280 where plan B stock to flow is, but we actually go kind of batshit crazy because of this, and we get to 500,000 or maybe even 1 million. I don't know. I can't price that upside, but I feel like the same thing is I've never seen something like it. On the flip side, you can see there are brakes being applied. The brakes have really come now. They keep shifting around, but currently it's known as FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Right, and you hear this a lot because people are finding it very hard to catch up with the fact there's a parallel financial system being built. So people are cynical by nature. They don't want to believe in Silicon Valley. And I watch this on Twitter all the time. The mean reversionist nature of most people means that they get cynical. They enjoy it going up a bit and then they turn against it. We don't believe in this. And they did it all the way through with technology, and I'm guilty of that too. And now I've realized that it was wrong of me, because these are exponential rises that go on over time. So I've lost my train of thought about this.
Well, yeah, you just don't know where this ends, and there could be such unbelievable
wall of money.
skewness. Yeah, wall of money.
Yeah, I mean, the wall of money is huge coming into it, and the more the market cap goes up, the more it brings in other people. It's a reflexive loop of a magnitude I've never seen before. So
I remember back in.
Sorry, just to go back, I remember my train of thought was the slowing of the brakes keeps changing with this FUD. But the key one that's going around now is energy.
Right.
That's come from the ECB. Why? Because they want to slow institutional adoption. Because they've created another hurdle now. And I've been having calls with all of these institutions. So now we need to prove that it's worthy of our ESG mandate.
Right.
Because they're legally mandated.
Oh, I love it. And so we're going to start shutting down all the pool heaters.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't heat your pool anymore, people. I'm sorry.
The reality is actually driving a green tech revolution. The richest man in Norway, has just set up a hydro plant to mine Bitcoin, and it's driving actually electricity costs down around the world. So it's a wrong narrative, but it's yet another FUD narrative that we all have to stand up and fight for if we believe in this space. And we've gone through so many of these, it doesn't stop, because what is at stake is the very system of money itself. And I'm not saying it in the kind of anarchist way of we're all going to have a new currency and Bitcoin's the currency of the world. I don't believe that. There's a probability of it, but I don't believe it. And I don't really care. All I know is there's this massive digital playing field that's been built for us to all completely immerse ourselves in, make money from, enjoy. Our business models will change. Everything will change. It's fantastic.
I also think it's really interesting that this is a system that survived, or an ecosystem that survived the March 2020 events without intervention by any overarching central bank, without being bailed out, and the exchanges survived. No one went sideways or bankrupt. I'm sure a lot of traders were stopped out of positions and there was a reset done. But that system functioned without an overseer trying to manage the parts of it in order to avoid any kind of outcome that they didn't want.
And it functions without system breaks 24/7,
right?
365 days a year.
Yeah.
With, as you say, there's regulation, but it's a truly free market, and it works.
Well, also let's be fair, there's the level of rehypothecation and collateralization of crypto and stuff is still at a very nascent stage compared to the rest of the global financial system, right? Like you've got a massive amount of leverage in the global like the traditional financial system that you do not come close to having in the digital asset space yet.
That's my fear is humans are humans and they can't help themselves but lever up, right? And so even though everyone thinks it's a pristine system where you can have this trusted recorded ownership of who owns the collateral, I get that. Blockchain helps a lot. But humans will find every single way possible to create leverage.
Yeah.
And we will screw it up again because we've done it to everything, including the gold standard had plenty of leverage, blew it all up. You know,
we're going to have NFT CLOs for sure.
Of course we will. CLO Square NFTs
Yeah.
as an ETF, you know. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Perfect.